Hog Money, your guide to the economy of Bermuda. Now, in studio today, I have my co-host, Robert Stewart, former CEO of Shell, holds a degree in economics, also was the vice chairman and director of Bank of Butterfield, and he's written 2 books on the economy of Bermuda. I also have Cordell with me today, a special guest, owner of Profiles of Bermuda and a former government statistician. Also, we have another special guest overseas in Scotland, Jonathan,
yes, that's right.
Jonathan Starling, former independent political candidate and workers advocate. Let's start with you, Mr. Stewart. Just tell us, is financial assistance helping or hindering able-bodied Bermudians?
Well, the answer it does both. You have to think carefully about the short term and the long term. Short term, if somebody is unemployed, they're hungry, they're homeless, and so on, it's not a great position to be in. And so somebody really is looking forward to having a helping hand. And there are many institutions in Bermuda that do that, such as churches, various charities like the LCCA. There was also, oddly enough, in the newspaper today, an article by Ira Phillips, who was speaking about some of the lodges and so on, which had helped people in the past, and they still do, and they do fantastic work, and one should not underestimate their ability to help people. Long term, there's a big problem, because if it becomes easy to acquire assistance from the government for not working and not doing anything, it then becomes very, very easy for government to start to increase the benefits to people. And in addition to that, but worse than that, it means that some people say, well, I'm getting, let's say, $300 a week, and if I go to work, I'm going to get $400 a week. So in effect, I'm working for $100. It's not worth me doing that. I might as well go and do odd jobs like packing groceries or something like that, where nobody sees me and I'm not recorded as being in the labour force. So the long-term effect, and if you look at what happens in Europe and United States in particular, you see that there's a significant impact, negative impact, on people who are on long-term assistance. Mm-hmm. And
well, let's on that note, let's get Cordell in the mix here. Cordell, what is your outtake on this, or your view on this?
Well, I think I'll start from the premise that, well, let's put it this way. There's a course that takes place within this building in the Government Human Resources Department. It's called Dignity at Work. We can just flip that a little bit and say dignity in life. Mm-hmm. By providing people with assistance when they need it, provides them with a level of dignity. And I think that is where we need to start from. There are some abuses within the system, but there's a few and far between. I don't think it is a demotivator for work. There's a report that just came out, I think this week, from the Cato Institute that purported to show that exactly what you were saying, that the getting financial assistance was a demotivator and that people were preferring to take the work. Fortunately, that study, or the authors of that study, made a number of assumptions that failed to hold. And it was basically stating that in order for a person to earn more money on welfare, they would have to have been taking money from all the helping agencies. And that assumption just could not hold, and a number of leading economists disputed that. So this notion that is a demotivator doesn't really hold when you look at data.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me on the show today. One thing I want to say is that there's a lot of think tanks, which are right-wing think tanks, which put out publications which argue these are that points based on ideological positions. But there's actually a huge and very extensive literature in the social sciences, mm-hmm. which are peer-reviewed journals, articles, and all that. And if you look at that, they actually find that there's very little long-term worklessness. For example, in the UK, they've done research into intergenerational worklessness. So they found that the incidences of households where there's unemployed parents and unemployed children in the same household, that's only 0.9% of the British households overall. For 3-generation worklessness, is only 0.1%. And when they've researched whether being unemployed and on benefits affects your work ethic, they've actually found that it's quite the opposite. There's people who are unemployed, they have a very strong work ethic. A lot of them are actually in a low pay, no pay cycle. They are working and then they find themselves out of work, but they are working, they instill a strong sense of it, they dislike being on benefits. So there's actually no evidence in the social science that long-term worklessness even exists in the first place. And after that, that when it does exist in the small minority cases, that affects your work ethic or sense of wanting to work.
Okay. All right.
Can I just come in on that one?
Sure, sure.
Well, the evidence is actually quite to the contrary. In fact, in the United States, roughly over 50% of the population, the working age population, receive some form of benefit. And it may be small or it may be significant in their day-to-day expenses, but it's certainly way beyond, I think you said 0.1 or even 1%. It is way beyond that, and it is a major problem in most European countries and in North America for families for several generations to have been on welfare and received benefits. And it's a significant percentage. It's not a minor percentage.
You're making that up. The data
I'm
is
not making
there
it
in
up.
social science.
I'm not making it up.
Yes, it's true that a lot of people receive benefits, but we're talking worklessness and being multiple generations on welfare, not in employment, which are two different things. We all receive benefits from the state. We receive it from military protection. We receive it from public transportation. The big capitalists receive it in getting bailouts all the time. So yes, there is a lot of welfare out there, but it's skewed heavily towards the upper class.
All right, look, okay, well, I like the way it's going. We're getting into some great discourse here, but we have to take a break. So let's take a break right now, and let's go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages where we'll pick up on this conversation.